Alright, Shalom. You reached the He Pray channel. My name is Azimua. I want to say call Halagim, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Harachachudash. Double honors to the apostles and elders. 7-13-19. We grew well. And where I learned this truth from. This video is Yahawashi Yahawashi answering my prayers and how I should move forward, whether it be good or evil. I said, let His will be done. So, this video is about the reason why I left GMS, GREATMILLSTONE, which I'm gonna just get to the nitty gritty, because I don't want to make this a long, drawn out video, but I'm just gonna get to the point. And the reason why I left is because there was a situation that sprung, for lack of better words, a chain of events. And it happened when we were downtown San Jose. And the dude, Yahawashi, was all about always trying to holler at bitches and getting at bitches. And trying to get brothers to, you know, put their attention into trying to holler at bitches, which for me, you know, it's not really my thing, because of the lifestyle I was living before I was even in the truth. So I really paid no, attention to it. But we went to this bar, and long story short, I seen him sitting at a bar talking to this chick. And I don't know what happened. I guess he wasn't feeling him. And I was, walking from the, I think I was walking from the bathroom or from, a different section of the little bar. And that same individual that he was trying to holler at told some Mexican cat in a deeper voice than mine that this nigga is trying to holler at me. And then at that point, I was like, fuck no, man, I want to get the fuck up out of here. Because in San Jose, it's a bunch of trannies, and I already knew that, because I was in, San Jose prior to me even coming into the truth, trying to put out my music, which in Fresno, we were called The Lead, which there was already a group in, we found out later that there was already a group in the Bay Area that called themselves The Lead. So we ended up changing it. Well, I changed it. I came up with the idea, and I just gave it to him to run with it. Block fresh. So I already had an inclination of what goes down in downtown San Jose, a bunch of transformers. So speed it up to the Passover, and this is the same Passover, Dawada in Zion, I believe it was the same Passover, that Dawada in Zion was still holding a grudge against an individual named Yashawan, which they ate that Passover unworthily because Yashawan is not only still in the truth, but he has a wrench on the Apostle Tahar's page. Even though Yashawan is a lying piece of shit and a demon, nonetheless he has a wrench on Apostle Tahar's page. So at that Passover, I remember we were having a conversation, and then it led up to me telling Yakal that he was talking to a fucking tranny, a transformer. You know, and so he was trying to argue it down. And then I said, because I'm a type of person that likes to cast lots. You know, especially in the name of Yahawashi. So we casted a lot to see through the spirit if I was telling the truth. And he was hollering at a tranny. And it confirmed it. And then you saw, well, at least I could discern, because I was already discerning the countenance on Dawada and Zion when we had our little video chat call or whatever. And I saw his countenance fall. And then ever since then, he had his pride stroke. He was already having his pride stroke because he's a proud nigga because of what happened in Seattle. You know? So his pride got stroked, and from that night on, he made it damn near his duty to try to put so much hell on me and slander me behind brothers' backs, and you know, eventually to what he did to a lot of you. So he would have me because through the spirit, somebody mentioned discipline. You know, the reason why he had you doing this was because of discipline. But I came into the truth like 23, 22, maybe 24, just turning 24. And I already lived and did more than a lot of you in life. You know, I moved out when I was 17. I had an apartment with friends. Then I moved to Sacramento and went to school. I had 3 apartments up there. Then I moved back to Fresno and started working at a career job, not just a job, but a career. And I had 2 apartments, and I had got an apartment in Madeira with this chick. Not only that, when I was in high school, I had my own record label where I was managing artists. You know, we had tours scheduled up, albums. You know, people wanted to sign us, right? And this is all before I even came to the truth, before I even turned, 21, because I went to Sacramento for school at age 21. So what do you mean discipline? You know, I was working during the week, 10-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts, to try to catch up on what I missed during the weekend, because contrary to popular belief, I was supposed to be at work every Saturday and Sunday selling plants. That's the time when people go and purchase their bedding, their shrubs, their trees, so they could plant it on their free time on the weekend to beautify their the outside of their domicile or whatever. So I was supposed to be at camp all those years, which to make another point, you know, individuals, Dawadan Zion said I was so-called scared to preach the word in front of my job, which little do they know, that wasn't even my fucking job. They said I was scared to preach the word in front of my boss, but little did they know my dad was my boss. And my dad knew I did the truth. He Yahawashi, my dad gets a reward for all the things that he done for me to continue to do this work, man. You know, so what the hell were they talking about? And then they were talking about I didn't want to go to River Park, but when they had the ability to go to River Park themselves, they didn't go. Which the whole time when they were in the camp, they're very rebellious, backbiting, you know, talking shit, you know, causing tension, schism. You know, they hated, or I guess you could say they hated Yashawan. They felt like he was a nigga. And, you know, concerning Yashawan, he's still holding a grudge from when we did those rebuke videos and how he was, or, you know, Dawada and them brought up how he was when he was in the world. And it's not the fact that we brought up videos to rebuke you for what you were in the world. We were making sense of it all through discernment because of your countenance and your mannerisms while you were in the truth. You know? And then I did the video about you being stagnant because you're at the same level that you were when we first met with you. You never grew, you know? But all in all, I apologized to that man several times, and still over the years, he still has admitted that he, you know, is still holding on to a grudge, which, you know, you ate the Passover unworthily, man. Especially if you knew how much, you know, I always vouched for you, man. And I was always rooting for you. You know, and I apologized to you. And when your brother-in-law went and revealed all the things that he said in that video, and the spirit was on me to say that that was the truth, that your brother-in-law was telling the truth, you threw me under the bus and told me that I was a liar, and have the whole congregation believing that I'm a demon and I'm a liar. But yet we met on that day in front of Planned Parenthood when I was at camp, and you admitted it. You admitted to all of those things. And then you talked about how grateful you are to still be in the truth because of something that you did years prior. You know? So not only are you holding a grudge, but you're a liar. And then you talk to your woman about me, talking about shall be destroyed and all that other shit. You know? You're waiting for my destruction. Just as you made those videos talking about where's the proof of your ministry. And you were already celebrating my downfall. And all I did was take my time out, help you with the scriptures. We used to do class, you know. I even corrected you many a times when you were breaking the scriptures down wrong, you know. I even got you hired at the same job that I had. And because you want to continue to do music on the faggot side of town in Fresno, you know, in front of a bunch of homosexuals, you know, you quit that job and made me look like an asshole voucher for you to be hired, man. But going back to your call, after, you know, his pride was shattered, after it was revealed that it was a tranny, that's when it was all downhill. That's when he had it out for me. You know, even when I rebuked him when we was in the paddy wagon, no, prior to us being in the paddy wagon, after he done knocked somebody out, you know, I won't get into the details, but I'll say after he knocked somebody out, we was sitting on the curb and he was trying to be a nigga to the police. You know, not agreeing, not applying the scriptures, not agreeing with our adversary quickly. And he got offended that I told him to calm down and, you know, be quiet. You know, on the wavelength of how dare this end tell me what to do. So I was cracking jokes in the paddy wagon, but turns out he's gonna lie and try to tell everybody that I was scared, not knowing that I already been through this shit before. I've been locked up before, man. I've been to sanctuaries before. You know, this shit ain't nothing new to me. I have been to jail before, man. You know, I don't live in a facade, man. Everything that I said I did, no matter how much you don't think it's true, as I always said, truth is stranger than fiction. I know I did those things, man. You know? But ever since then, those two occasions, he was just doing nothing but putting hell on me and having his sidekick Bonnie Yah, who was a nigga, you know, spying on me. And there was an incident, and this is toward the time that I was about to, that, you know, the separation happened, the severing, you know. I was talking to this chick, and Bonnie Yah lied, trying to say that I was trying to, you know, teach the truth to her, which was total nonsense and bullshit. As that same nigga Bonnie Yah stole, you know, some heathen nigga skateboard, man, and didn't even give it back. And, you know, there's hella accounts of him wilding out drunk, man. You know? But the chick that I was talking to, her party, her company was in a restaurant called LeVic's. And while they were in the restaurant LeVic's, I had to take a piss. So I went to a little alley where there was a trash can, and whatever happened in LeVic's between her and her party, they ended up getting an altercation and it spilled over outside. And one of her individuals in her party got knocked out. And you know, me being being young in the truth and not, you know, trying to be more circumspect of the situation, I said that Smokey line from Friday, you got knocked the fuck out. And then she rushed me, and then I defended myself. And by that one fight, they want to put all those different altercations that the camp had and act like it was me. Which, if I was going around trying to beat up people, or what I was actually doing in an in-about way, because UFC was really hot at that time, and San Jose is a real UFC city, and I'll just, play around with people, which, in retrospect wasn't wise, and, we ended up chopping it up after. I'll be like, man, I'm just playing, and we ended up chopping it up after, exchanging numbers and shit like that. So they want to put all that on me. That's cool, whatever. But if I was so drunk out there, how the hell are you individuals even still alive, man? Because I was the designated driver. I was the designated driver, and only, one of you was, giving me gas money, and I was gad for a cool minute, man. All of you drunk, I had to deal with all your drunkenness, taking all you home, just as I was blamed for being late picking y'all up when I'm waiting for each and every individual I was assigned to pick up to get ready. So what your call did, he used all these things and all these circumstances, and he was still mad and felt some type of way that I brought it to his attention, and the spirit brought to his attention that he was hollering at a fucking transformer. So he waited till I was drunk and waited until, I got comfortable and I was, tired and ready to go to sleep. And I sleep on the same couch every time I'm required to go to San Jose after, working on a Friday, trying to, prepare for the weekend in which I'm not going to be there, even though I'm supposed to be, which they call it discipline, which, like I said, ain't none of them even had any cars. They all live with their mama, except maybe Gad, but, even his tuition or his family was financing his shit, man. I already had all my shit. I had cars already. I had apartments already, so I already knew about discipline. I had a record label already with artists signed, dealing with people that's in the industry. I have a friend right now that's touring right now in Europe. So I already knew about discipline in business. You individuals didn't know nothing about discipline in business, and you were moving with a hot cognition. You were emotional, man. Instead of looking at it as, oh shit, let me be more circumspect when I'm trying to fuck every bitch I see, you wanted to take it out on me. So one day, I woke up and this nigga shows me pictures of, because the couch is real small. So if I lean over, my body is not gonna fit inside the couch. My head will be laid on the headrest. So in my mind, every time I was going there, mind you, every weekend to sleep on the couch, I was the only one there. So in my mind, I'm thinking, this is my couch. Ain't nobody else is gonna be on the couch because I'm the only one that comes here every weekend because I'm forced to, because I'm being blamed for everybody else's tardiness, which is fine. I'll take it, whatever. But that just shows a lack of accountability of you individuals that still remain in the camp, which the Most High, he got rid of all you niggas that were putting hell on me anyway, So I wake up and he shows me pictures of my head on the lap of the individual's name was Bonnie Yah. He's no longer in the truth, And then he was trying to make it seem as if I was a homosexual. And then this other nigga, Tazayawan, who later fell out, the Hamite, he even asked me, I believe he asked me when I was at Gad's house, when I was kind of off the groove, he even asked me if I was a homosexual, and thinking about that picture, I snapped. Because I already have trust issues from just getting out of situation before I came into truth, where a motherfucker was trying to accuse me for pimping on this chick who was my girlfriend at the time's best friend, which I let and introduced her to him, and he ended up dealing with. And when her family came and when the cops came looking for her, he put all that shit on me. And the cold thing, and this is the reason why I hate you fucking niggas, and I'll never trust you niggas again, is the neighbor downstairs, where I befriended and, you know, was cool with, you know, he even was coming up against me because I had the white bitch, I had the sports car, I was going to school, I had a job, I had my shit rocking, man. And it was all jealousy. These niggas didn't have this. This nigga had a bitch that cussed him out and called him a faggot. The nigga that was downstairs, he was mad at me because his woman was fucking another nigga around the way that everybody knew besides him. And they looking at me in my situation, so they want to put me down. So I get it. This is something that reoccurred all throughout my life. And I already understand the dynamic and the spirit that Yahawashi had just by dealing with an individual that was on my record label, Arcanum Records. You know, he had the same spirit. Light-skinned nigga, gets whatever bitch he wants, fucks all these hoes, so on and so forth, arrogant, proud, all that shit, but he ended up with AIDS or HIV. His own uncle told him that. You know? So at that point, when I saw all those pictures, or that picture, I'll say, to be truthful, it was a picture in the phone, I was like, what the fuck? Because I don't know what the fuck these niggas was doing, man, when I was asleep. You know? I don't know if that's the only picture or if they position my body any type of way. You know? And then I remember this one situation when this nigga you call was talking about I could bring a 304 to the house if I wanted to his little shack. You know? And I said, okay, but I didn't, the only thing about that I went wrong on is I didn't do it the exact night that he said I could. I did it like maybe a few weeks later, and I did it with the brother Yahawashi. You know, because I would want for my brother as I would want for myself, and I think I paid for both of us, you know, to have a good time. I had my own, and he had his own. There wasn't no wickedness involved, you know. We were separated by closed doors, you know, which if that was going off, Salakia Yahawashi Yahawashi, you know, but he already said that I could do it. But then he creates this narrative to try to demonize me among all Israel behind my back with slanders, you know, even within the camp. I could discern that there's some animosity brewing, and it's really centered around his pent-up hatred because his pride was wounded, man. And then in that same day, in a little moment after that, another nigga that fell out the truth, Kaylee, which he was all bugged out because I told him that through the spirit, you need to, you know, be more on point because, you know, the scopeo is on you. And it's not that anybody said anything, you know, directly toward him. It was just that I was reading the spirit and I was reading the room. So he thinks, you know, Isaac was right, Isaac was right. No, nigga, you was just lazy in the truth. It was just a hangout to you. And one of the things I told you, how come you don't do videos on your talent? And the one thing he said was, don't judge another man's servant, just like they all say, man. You know? A lot of you hate the messenger, but you hate the messenger so much you don't take heed to the message. You know, so that nigga pulled a gun on me, a Daniel Boone gun or whatever, but it's just the principle. You know? The same individual I was helping his rent, helping his, car note, giving his family money. You know, anything they ever needed, whoever asked, if you needed some money, boom, there it was. No questions asked. I didn't even tell you to thank me. I said, thank you, Yahawashi, Yahawashi. You know? So, after that, man, I knew that this situation was leading to the same situation that I experienced with phony niggas in Islam, man. Which I already knew Islam wasn't the way, but, me being headstrong on trying to find the why to my questions in life. And I already knew that I wasn't trying to put my ass in the air praying 5 times a day. I knew that was bullshit. You know, the whole thing about Islam I felt was bullshit. But I knew that was the path that I had to take to get to the truth. Which I found the truth. You know, and when I came into the camp, when I came into the truth, I had all intentions to not only be a sacrificing myself by putting others above myself, but also enduring to the end for Yahawashi Yahawashi, because he did it the same for us. And the greatest thing that I could feel like I could do in life is to die, in defense of Yahawashi Yahawashi. So fast forward, that same situation in which the dude got knocked out in the VIX, and I ended up trying to defend myself, which I did, against this chick that rushed me, which I wasn't trying to knock her out, but I gave her a little swift, it was like an angled hook to the face. And the only thing this nigga you call had to say was, well, you didn't knock her out, you didn't knock her out. And then I was trying to explain to him I wasn't trying to knock her out. And then after that, at their camp, they're talking about I'm the reason why they can't walk down the streets in San Jose, which is total bullshit. You niggas are the reason why you couldn't walk down the streets in San Jose. That's the reason why I was against getting drunk and walking the streets of San Francisco, because the camp leader is showing his ass just fucking with people and fucking with the homeless, man. Which that spirit is rubbing off on everybody, the spirit of your call. You notice that you individuals that are in this truth aren't as aggressive as you were prior to him getting kicked out, man. And that's the same spirit that I was trying to push toward when I was in the camp, because I knew that nigga was off. I knew that nigga was off when he got sent back to the Bay from San Francisco. He had an arrogant spirit about him, man. So I made an oath with him that if I offend anybody again, that I'll suspend myself, and do the work on my own for a set amount of time. I'll suspend myself, because I deeply, with everything, with the molecule, whatever, the last molecule of me, of my composition, I deeply, love Yahawashi Yahawashi and dedicated everything to him, man. And through all the situations that I've been through, from me leaving GMS to now, reaffirms that in the spiritual world, because I know that the angels are watching, man. You know? So your call, he took it upon himself to go ahead and get everybody to, you know, come against me and, you know, rebuke me and all that other stuff, take me to counsel. And, you know, the reason why I was a little nonchalant about it is because I already made that oath in the name of Yahawashi, which I take, you know, those casting lots, and I take oaths seriously, man. And I fulfill my oath, man. You know, I've been doing the work. Despite, you know, all the fake, you know, what do they call it? Damn, it's in the back of my mind. Shit, it's a certain plant that you give people as a form of peace. You know, keep inviting me up into the Bay Area, acting like everything's cool. Then the next week talking shit, double-minded. Brought me up to the Bay Area after I fucking had to delete my channel because there was already 2 strikes on it, so it's gonna get deleted anyway. And then that's when they, you know, they kicked the call out because he did everything that I said that he was gonna do when I was in the camp. And then he turned against you niggas. And the reason why I call you niggas is because of all the nigga shit that you've done. How the hell do you not have any fucking mercy? All of the examples that you set forth, why the fuck do you not have any mercy? When all I've ever said and all I ever wanted to do was just do the work. I said, let me do this work. You're gonna get this work. I'm a lunch pail prophet. That's it. And you make jokes and talk shit about that. You say, I'm wasting my time. How do you know you're not wasting your time, man? How do you know that Yahawashi ain't finished judging on you? And that includes you and Modesto too. Because you gave me pure hell when I was the camp leader, telling me all this shit. I'm not gonna learn from you. I'm gonna teach him. He on, you know, this, that, and the third. Coming in the camp, taking over. You know, taking it upon yourself to want to be the leader, and you can't even wrestle your ass out of a wet paper bag, man. You ain't even never been outside of your mama's house, man. You never even moved out your fucking house. How can you lead a camp? And that goes for the both of you. And that's the reason why the Most High smote you with whatever disease that you got. You know? And the tribulation that you received. And as far as I'm concerned, Ralph, you tried to heap disciples onto yourself, because a spiritual mind would have knew that he didn't belong in the truth no way. He couldn't put the fucking alcohol down, man. You know? Talk about, you know, excessive. I could see if you 250, 270 pounds and you drink a what do they call it, a pint or half of a Magnum, because I never finished the whole Magnum during the time period in which I was in the camp, and we would have the little video calls with a Masha Ba'ala, which I knew that nigga was wicked too. I called that nigga out too. I told Yashawamba about that nigga, man. And sure enough, he was a wicked ass nigga, man. You know, mind you, I'm working 10, 12 hours, you know, a day, trying to prepare for the weekend in which I'm supposed to be there, because that's the top 2 days you sell plants. So for me, when I was praying, the final nail in the coffin was the fact that he was taking those sexualized pictures of me. You know? And, you know, through this whole time, I was telling the leadership about it. I will ask, and even with counsel, I ask one brother this, and I'll ask another brother the same thing to test their integrity. You know? To see if they were in the same spirit, and they turned that against me too. You know? Because you can't trust every nigga in this truth, man. These niggas fear the eyes of men, so they'll throw you under the bus, not knowing that the eyes of Yahawashi sees everything, man. You know? So you could rebuke me, you could continue to put curses on me, all that stupid shit. You know, I still ain't fall back into the world. I still teach the same doctrine of Great Millstone. I still give my ass up through the spirit and power of Yahawashi and go out there and teach the word and put up videos, man. I got multiple channels. Some channels you know, some channels you don't. Some different platforms. I'm thinking about, you know, depending how things go, if it ain't a famine of word, making my own website, moving away from YouTube, man. You know? So that's the reason why I left GMS. Besides being treated like pure shit and lied about, which, like I said, how would Dawadan Zion even know I deal with 304s, I'll say, when I never experienced any of those scenarios to my recollection. And then they were having a pissy fit about, you know, me wanting to fellowship with them, and, you know, he was on a fast, and eventually it was let go. But like abroad, it hurts your feelings, man. But you did that because you just wanted to continue to, you know, demonize me, just like that nigga you call went around all Babylon to all the different camps demonizing me, man. But he won't tell you the reason why I said fuck him and I left the camp after I was telling Gad about the situation to deaf ears, man. Because, you know, just like I told Corner Wolf that he was going to be the leader. And sure enough, slowly but surely, you're seeing the transitioning through the spirit, which I'm pretty sure they can't see it. You know? But nobody gets away. Now, I'm not going to get away. This ain't no type of thing where I'm just, you know, bashing GMS. GMS, you know, I'll stand in front of a bullet for GMS, man. I'll sacrifice my life for the men I believe Yahawashi chose. But one thing I haven't really seen, even when I was in the truth, was any mercy, man. You know? And one thing that still rocks my soul today is me working hard as I can to meet this deadline, you know, and trying to get this brother circumcised. And when he gets circumcised, he tells me to my face he was gonna put a curse on me. So I deal with a whole bunch of niggotry when I was in GMS. And like I said, the reason why I left is because of those sexualized pictures you took. And that's a good reason to leave. And if it's not, make a response and tell me how I should have dealt with the situation. Because to me, I had three options. Let Yahawashi handle it and pray about it. 2, I could have got and went into my trunk and got a stick and did something real horrible to them all. Because a lot of people, they get killed over shit like that, man. you know? And 3, just, pay no, never mind, which aligns up with 2. And that's, I took door number 1 and door number 2. I'll let Yahawashi handle it. And I paid it no, never mind, man. But till this day, it still irks me. Because I don't know what the hell them niggas did when I was asleep. You know? So they could talk all that shit, oh, you were drunk, you were doing all these fighting, I only been in 1 fight. And that was me defending myself. And if you want to talk about when, we tore up that bar, that was because you, Gad. You was talking shit to everybody like you usually do when you're drunk, and you got sucked in your mouth. And then you took your ass to a Halloween party, camp leader. And when you came back, you got confronted again and got touched up again. And then what did we do? We went into that restaurant and tore that restaurant down and beat all those assailants. And you couldn't even get in the car to drive so we can get away. You was crying, curled up in the back seat. So all that tough guy shit that you talk, you're not a tough guy. You should stop it. You can put the act on like you're mad and all that. You're not a tough guy, man. That's not the person I met. That's not the person I know. Because, all those felonies on felonies on felonies were committed. Like I said in the previous video, you didn't even say thank you. The water, Eisenmawaf, for getting us home that night, drunk ass, since I'm always drunk, right? Or all those nights. That a lot of the times I protected you niggas from getting your asses beat for acting obnoxious. But because your call had his little feelings hurt, and as he always does to everybody else, he wants to destroy him and try to get them out of the ring. My final straw, not on the truth, not on Yahawashi, but dealing with you and being in that camp, was when you was taking those sexualized pictures of me when I was asleep. Now, if that's not a good reason to leave a camp, then what the fuck would any of you niggas would have done, man? After you went to leadership about the ship to no avail. Now I'm not saying all y'all niggas. I'm just talking. And I'm thankful that I never listened to any of you niggas talking about I'm wasting my time and death to Eisenmawaf after I didn't apologize to you in front of your face, after I gave gifts to you, after I dropped things for the Passover for you. Not because I did it just to do it, but out of the kindness of my heart. Even having counsel and sharing my thoughts with an individual and asking them if it's something I should do or would I get cursed out. So before you say I'm wasting my time and it's true, just imagine what Yahawashi is going to do to you if I'm one of those little ones, man. And he already took out half of the fucking camp. And all those individuals, they were giving me hell. Even Tracy T, man. When I came to apologize, he had his fists all balled up. Like he wanted to fight me. He wanted to jump me. And all that was because of that wicked spirit I saw in your call that filtered on all you fuckers, man. A little leaven at the whole lump. And a lot of you still got that leaven in you. So stew on that. And with that, I'm going to say, Shalom.